Good morning. Thank you, Claire, for your music. Welcome. Welcome to Unity North Spiritual Center. My name is Rhonda Italiano. I am the licensed Unity teacher here at Unity North. Reverend Kathy is enjoying a well-deserved day off today, so we hope that she is relaxing and enjoying some time with family. Usually this is the time when she talks about what unity is, and I have listened to her say that many times, but I don't quite have the words memorized. So someone asked me recently what church I went to, and I said that I went to Unity. He said, well, what is that? And what they were after, is it Lutheran, is it Catholic? You know, they wanted to know what category to put me in. And I said, well, it's non-denominational Christian, and usually that's enough for people to just let it go. Well, they wanted more. Well, I didn't really have my elevator speech prepared at that moment, but it was interesting to have someone put that question to me. In a nutshell, what is unity? And so I finally told this person that we are a Christian organization, that we certainly follow the teachings of Jesus, but that we don't take the Bible literally, and that things are certainly open to interpretation for us. But it's interesting to sort of have those wheels turning and have people ask us questions that we're not quite prepared for. So as Reverend Kathy shares with us every Sunday morning, whoever you are, wherever you are, however you interpret Scripture, we are very happy that you have joined us this morning. We welcome you. We are happy to have people in the sanctuary. We have many friends who are joining us on Zoom, and we are very happy to have you here as well. So good morning. We have been defining and revising who we are as a community, and we have recently gone through a process where we sort of fine-tuned our vision and our mission, and we had a whole series of classes where we got together and talked about how we wanted to word things and what was important to us. And I think we have a slide to talk about the vision and mission, do we not? I should have prepared our producer this morning that I was going to do that. So our vision, centered in prayer, we create for all a world of love, harmony, and abundance. So that is the ideal that we are after. That is what we are affirming. That's what we're reaching for. And the way that we get there is by celebrating spirit, exploring truths, awakening hearts, inspiring dreams, and serving community. And the goal is for us to have that at the ready, right? As a community, who are we? And to be able to rattle that off. So if we hear it enough, we'll get there. All right, and with that, I'm going to ask Claire to share with us an opening song.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You get to sing too, and there are the words. So hopefully everybody's awake and ready to roll.
Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one. One tie that binds us can't be undone. I choose love. I choose love. Peace in my planet is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love.
Thank you, Claire. That was lovely. Good morning. I'm Noel Labine, your worship assistant. Good morning. This is the time in our service when we greet one another. So you can look around and wave to each other and your fellow weeders. I think most people here today are going to be helping to weed. Maybe not everybody, but we will be with us in spirit. And also, everyone that's is on Zoom, you could turn around and wave to the camera at the back of the sanctuary and greet them also. Is there anybody here for the first time today? How about on Zoom? Is anybody for the first time on Zoom? I guess I can see it right here. I don't recognize anybody. How about out of state? We have our regular out of staters. There's Candy, and there's a box in the way I can't see. Yeah, there's somebody else here I know. From out of state, Gary. And who? Finn. Oh yes, Finn. Finn's here too. Okay. Well, welcome. Glad you're here from joining us today. Now we will take a moment for prayer request. Rather than say them aloud for all to hear, we invite you to speak a name or request silently or aloud in the privacy of your home. We give thanks in advance for these prayers, and we say, thank you, Mother, Father, God. And so it is. Amen. Let us stay centered for the daily word. The daily word for Sunday, June 5th, 2022 is truth. The light of truth shines in my heart. Like a kaleidoscope, shifting patterns of dazzling colors, my life is always changing. Some of the changes I may like, and others I may not, but I accept the changes nonetheless. I enjoy pleasurable moments while learning and growing through the more unpleasant ones. No matter where I find myself along the spectrum of human experience, I take comfort in spiritual truth. God is changeless, my rock and refuge in times of struggle, and the wings that lift me in times of ease and bliss. I remain steady and calm even as I navigate life's inevitable changes, finding lasting comfort in the truth of God as absolute goodness. As I travel along my unique path, the steady light of truth shines from within me. From 1 John chapter 2, verse 8, "Yet I am writing you a new commandment that is true in him and in you, because the darkness is passing away and the true light is already shining." And now Claire will play a song to prepare us for meditation.
You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world.
You'll notice a few pauses in the meditation. So those are opportunities for you to allow your mind to take over and create your own individual images during that time of silence. So I invite you to find a comfortable place to settle in your seat. Take a few deep breaths and get yourself centered. If you're comfortable, you can close your eyes. Otherwise, simply let your gaze fall gently toward the floor. Think of your favorite color. It's okay if your color changes, but conjure what your favorite color is at this moment in time. Start to see this color in your mind's eye. Breathe in this color. Let your mind and body fill with this color. Visualize what you'll do with this color. What will you create? In your mind's eye, start painting with this color. Start to paint your ideal day in this color, creating your own reality as if you have all the time, money, and resources that you need. Add other colors and invite a new sense of smell or touch. Let all your senses be vivid and activated. Visualize your ideal way to wake up in the morning and let it make you happy. Do you cuddle with a loved one? Or do your kids or pets jump into bed with you? Do you have your favorite morning drink? Feel the warm hugs of people you love or the warm sun on your skin. What would you do next? Let yourself be free. Maybe you go to a waterfall and play in the water. Maybe you're frolicking in a forest deep in the woods with greenery all around you. Allow yourself to get lost, enjoying the sights, the smells, and the sense of freedom all around you. Let this feeling of satisfaction flow through every cell of your body. Slowly finish your day and visualize yourself coming home. Gaze at the sunset after a fulfilling day and feel a sense of gratitude in your body from head to toe. What would you like to do for the end of your day? Is it reading a book or watching your favorite movie? Would you go out to dinner or dancing? Maybe you see your favorite people and they all greet you with a warm hug. How will you end your day? Find yourself at home and take a nice warm shower or maybe get a massage, completely relaxing every muscle in your body. As you climb into bed, feel a wave of gratitude, knowing that you have the power to create this day. Feel satisfied and fulfilled as you go to sleep. As you create this beautiful day for yourself, realize you can create anything you set your mind to. Just fill it with color, life, and love. Take a moment now to feel grateful for this day that you have created. Replay what you have done and give thanks. What was your favorite part? End with that image. Take another full breath. Bring all of those images and sensations and that color back with you. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
God grant me the serenity to accept what I can't change, the courage to change all that I can, and the wisdom, yes, the wisdom to know the difference. God grant me the serenity to accept what I can't change, the courage to change all that I can, and the wisdom, yes, the wisdom to know the difference. serenity, courage, wisdom to know the difference. Serenity, courage, wisdom to know the difference. 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 God grant me the serenity to accept what I can't change, the courage to change all that I can, and the wisdom, yes, the wisdom to know the difference. The wisdom, yes, the wisdom to know the difference. The wisdom to know the difference.
Thank you. Nine-year-old Joey was talking to his mother about what he had learned in Sunday school. Our teacher told us how God sent Moses behind enemy lines on a rescue mission to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. When he got to the Red Sea, he had his army build a pontoon bridge, and all the people walked safely. Then he radioed headquarters for reinforcements. They sent bombers to blow up the bridge, and all the Israelites were saved. Mom said, "Joey, is that really what your teacher said?" "Well, no, but if I told you the story the way she told it, you'd never believe me." The lesson this morning is called Prophetic Imagination. Moses, as we know, was a prophet. A prophet biblically was someone who spoke for God. They were like God's voice in the community. Unfortunately, most of the stories we have are sort of gloom and doom. The prophet would tell the king that if they didn't do X, Y, Z, then something terrible would happen. In terms of an org chart, prophets were just under the apostles. Today, the job description of a prophet has evolved a little bit. A prophet today is someone who engages in social action, someone who is rooted in spiritual teachings and pays attention to those who are marginalized or oppressed in society would be called a prophet. A man named Walter Brueggemann wrote a book entitled The Prophetic Imagination. The Imagination of a Prophet. Brueggemann has written over 100 books about scripture and Bible interpretation, and I thought that was a pretty impressive resume. But today we're just going to focus on the one book, The Prophetic Imagination. If I have a prophetic imagination, I'm using my mind to create a world, to paint a picture of society that's not restricted to what is true today. I'm more interested in what I want things to look like in the near future. I'm focused on what would be best for the people around me, the people who are marginalized or oppressed. Brueggemann says the task of the prophetic ministry is to nurture, nourish, and evoke a consciousness and perception alternative to the consciousness and perception of the dominant culture around us. So our job, if we are going to be prophets, is to use our minds to come up with a picture of the world around us that is different than the one we have right now. We are not stuck with what is. Instead, we paint a picture of what we prefer. Now remember that a prophet is not focused only on what is best for them as an individual. When I am invited to paint a picture of the world the way I want it, there's a temptation to focus on me. That's not the point here. They are focused on the community, what is best for all of the people, especially those who tend to be forgotten. Also, Brueggemann says, the point that prophetic imagination must ponder is that there is no freedom of God without the politics of justice and compassion. And there is no politics of justice and compassion without a religion of the freedom of God. So both of those ideas need each other. So a prophet is rooted in their spirituality. They have an eye toward the marginalized, and they are coming from spirit. Isn't that something to think about? So we have this concept, this idea that Brueggemann calls the prophetic imagination. What he means by that is to engage in conjuring up in our minds a reality that is different from the reality that we see right now. I'll give you an example. Martin Luther King had a dream. We've all heard that speech, I have a dream. And then he went on to say what he wanted to be true for people of color. What Martin Luther King was talking about wasn't true yet. It hadn't happened, but it was true in his head. He knew what he wanted, but it wasn't true in the outer realm yet. Martin Luther King had the imagination to inspire thousands of people to secure a more just reality for people of color. He was willing to challenge the present reality, which was not helpful to people of color at that time, in order to make a change. There were people at that time, which was 1963, who were not happy about this proposed change. Particularly in the southern United States, there were people who thought we were already moving in the wrong direction. These were the people who thought slavery was working just fine, thank you very much. That was abolished legally in 1865, and that was bad enough. From their perspective, things had only gotten worse since abolition. Now people of color wanted equality. Now they wanted to sit down at the same counter with someone who was white to have lunch. Now they wanted to serve on a jury. It was too much to ask. Wasn't going to happen, right? If it isn't broken, don't fix it. But it was broken. For people of color, the way that things were happening in the United States was very broken. Imagine hearing that speech if you were African American. Imagine hearing Martin Luther King talk about his dream for the first time if you were a person of color. Imagine the hope that that must have inspired. People were beaten down. They had years of history that they could hold up to Martin Luther King and say, look what they've done to us. But he had his dream. He described in detail what he wanted things to look like. The thing is, those who don't want change, they will argue to keep the status quo. They will tell you that everything is fine. You don't have to work that hard to picture what's already true. All you have to do is open your eyes. The task, the hard part, is to use your imagination, to close your eyes and paint a different picture in your head. Moses must have felt similarly when the Israelites were struggling under Pharaoh and the Egyptians. Pharaoh wasn't going to let the Israelites walk away. From Pharaoh's perspective, the Israelites just needed to get back to work. Stop whining, it's not that bad. Those who are being oppressed have to say no more. They have to push back. They have to use their voices. Moses and Martin Luther King both had an alternative in mind, rather than feeling stuck with what was socially true at the moment. They were not bound by what was true. They had another idea. Moses was looking out for the interests of the Israelites, who had been enslaved by Pharaoh. Pharaoh was another name for a king. Moses was speaking from the perspective of the Israelites. Martin Luther King was speaking from the perspective of African Americans. They were no longer technically enslaved, but they were far from free. They were far from equal to everyone else. Now, the Israelites were energized because they had an affirmation to work with. They knew what they wanted. They wanted to be free from the Egyptians. They didn't want to be in bondage to Pharaoh anymore. But Pharaoh didn't see that coming. He and the Egyptians thought they would just carry on being in charge with the Israelites doing their work indefinitely. Have you ever noticed in a war, biblical or otherwise, that each side is convinced that God is with them? Think about the Civil War in the United States. Did God choose a side in that conflict? What do you think? If you're out there in Zoom land, Chris said you can unmute yourself and he'll let us know what you said. So if you're here sitting in the room, what do you think? Did God choose a side? The U.S. Civil War.
Abolition.
He chose the side of abolition, you think, Noel?
I think.
Why do you think he chose that?
Because it creates more freedom for more people.
Okay. All right, so that's one idea. We have a microphone here. Someone out in Zoom land have something they want to share?
No, they can't. People on Zoom land can't hear it.
People in Zoom land can't hear. All right. All right, I can do that. So Noel said that he felt like the battle between the North and the South, the U.S. Civil War, he said that he felt like God chose the side of abolition. Someone else have an idea? Wendy. Oh, Jim Cox has his hand up. All right, go ahead, Jim. Unmute yourself. What do you think?
It's
All
Karen.
my readings,
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
okay. All my readings are that both sides thought they had God on their side.
Yes, they did. But what did God choose? Did God have an opinion? Did God choose a side? What do you think? Nancy? We are God. We are God. So that means that some of us chose slavery. Yes? Yes. All right. And some of us chose freedom. Okay. Yes, please. Karen.
So to go along with that, because there is the immanent and transcendent, and we have free will, we are able to misinterpret or interpret love depending upon our own experiences of fear or love. So God was present in everything, and we just, whoever we were, chose to live from wherever we were, fear or love.
Okay. All kinds of ideas here. Are you hearing the differences? Anyone have another idea? Another perspective? What do you think? U.S. Civil War, North versus the South, abolition versus slavery. What did God prefer? What did God choose? Whom did God favor, if anyone? Or did he stay neutral? Okay. Sure. Okay, so Kay said that she agreed with Noel that she felt like God chose abolition, that God was on the side of people who were enslaved because that was such a horrible life for them. Last call. Anyone else want to jump in here? Jim, go ahead.
For me, what Spirit's really trying to say to us all is you figure it out. Listen to me, listen to messages, figure it out.
Okay, so it's up to us then to make a choice, and Spirit is there saying, like a parent, all right, y'all, what are you going to do with this? Okay, so you notice that we didn't all have the same answer, right? The North wanted to abolish slavery. The South wanted to keep it. Both were absolutely convinced that God supported their cause. So people died on both sides. Just because someone lived in the South doesn't mean they supported that cause. Some of them didn't have a choice. Also, not everyone who lived in the North supported the abolition of slavery. Did God cheer for one side or the other? If God didn't choose a side, doesn't that mean he was on the side of the oppressor? Something else to think about. Biblically, for many years, the kings were presented as the representatives of God. They spoke with God's authority. Even though we don't believe that anymore, we can see the separation of church and state today. But there's still a little bit of that in the background. We don't often challenge what the law says. People don't often push back and say that a law is unfair or question the basis of that law. They just accept that something is legal or not. It's like that idea that the government speaks with spiritual authority is still bubbling under the surface, still hanging out, doing its invisible work. They didn't have social action in Moses' time. He didn't engage in anything we would call social action. Moses was concerned with the consciousness that made the political regime of the time possible. Moses knew he needed to address what people were thinking, what they believed. That is what made slavery of the Israelites possible. That is also what made slavery in the United States possible. It was a set of beliefs about a group of people who were different. They were other. Brueggemann calls this the royal consciousness. The rhetoric, the beliefs, the acceptance of the way things are is what Brueggemann would call the royal consciousness, the thoughts of the powerful. We are all children of that royal consciousness because we were born during a time when certain things are true. The war in the Ukraine right now is true. The COVID pandemic is true. All of the politics that you can bring to mind, whether you agree with them or not, those are true. We are all children of that consciousness. We were also in the United States all born into a system of capitalism. We have a hard time imagining the US without our current economic system. What would it look like? We tend to shut down alternatives before they even get started. It'll never work. It'll never happen. That's so unlikely, I'm not even going to entertain it. But we need to entertain alternatives. Moses entertained alternatives. Martin Luther King entertained alternatives. If we don't like the way things are, we need to entertain alternatives. That's how change happens. This is how we make things better than they are right now. We need to remember how to use our imaginations. We desperately need our imaginations right now. Using our imaginations means challenging the powers that be. Moses challenged Pharaoh. Martin Luther King challenged the political powers in the South. Jesus challenged the political powers in his day, too. He didn't follow the social conventions of his time. He ate meals with outcasts. He interacted with women who were not his relatives. He forgave on the Sabbath. None of these things seems like a big deal to us today. But in Jesus' day, they were a very big deal. They were the rules of that society at that time. There was a neat and obvious division of haves and have-nots in Jesus' day. In Matthew 8, 1 through 4, we have the story of the leper who was healed by Jesus. It says, when Jesus had come down from the mountain, great crowds followed him, and there was a leper who came to him and knelt before him, saying, Lord, if you choose, you can make me clean. He stretched out his hand and touched him, saying, I do choose. Be made clean. Immediately his leprosy was cleansed. Then Jesus said to him, see that you say nothing to anyone, but go show yourself to the priest and offer the gift that Moses commanded as a testimony to them. In those 4 short verses, a lot happened. First of all, Jesus came down from the mountain. That's a metaphor. It means that he was praying, right? He had been praying for a long time. He was all prayed up. Then a leper comes to Jesus and asks for healing, and Jesus heals him. By putting his hands on a leper, Jesus put himself in danger. Leprosy was a mysterious, serious, life-threatening illness at this time. It made people unclean. Lepers were unclean. Everybody knew that. They were never rich. They were never successful. They were always poor, and they were always outcasts. You weren't supposed to talk with them. If you were feeling pious and generous, you might give them money, but you certainly didn't eat with them. You did not touch them. Jesus erased all of those rules with one action. Jesus knows this man runs the risk of being dismissed if he claims that Jesus cured his leprosy. That is because Jesus was born of questionable birth, right? Remember that we don't know who his biological father is. There are stories, there are murmurings, there are people who are having their tongues wagging. Did you hear about Mary? Who do you think did that, right? Jesus knows that that will put this leper in a bit of a predicament. So he tells him not to say anything about who healed him or who did what. Just go to the priest, present yourself, show him that you are clean, praise the powers at the temple, show that you are healed, praise God, and move on, right? By his behavior, Jesus was erasing the rules of the day. He was raising the oppressed up to the level of everyone else. He created an alternative reality. There were people in Moses' day who were oppressed. They were enslaved. They wanted their freedom. There were people in Jesus' day who were oppressed. They wanted to be able to participate in society without being treated like outcasts. Jesus made that possible for them. He challenged the rules of the day. More currently, Martin Luther King challenged the rules of the day in the United States in 1963 when he shared his I Have a Dream speech. Where are our prophets today? There is no shortage of people who are marginalized. We have plenty of groups of people who are oppressed today. We have the Ukrainians who want freedom from Russian rule. Look at all of the people experiencing homelessness. Think about the challenges of people of color today. Think about all of the people in poverty all over the world. Who will speak for them? That list goes on. Where are the prophets? Where are the people who put their imagination to work and imagine a better world for those who have been silenced? There was a former Navy SEAL commander. His name's Carl Hagen. And he said, before we win in reality, we need to win in our minds. Before we win in reality, we have to win here. This is not a priest. This is a military leader. This is a man who trains the most elite military minds in the United States to win battles, to rescue people, to carry out missions. He's talking about using imagination. We cannot afford to lose the ability to imagine something that isn't quite true in manifestation yet. But that ability is slowly slipping away. We might feel beaten down and tired, and all with good reason, but the oppressed are still oppressed. The marginalized are still marginalized. That royal consciousness, that idea that this is just the way things are, is getting stronger, more ingrained in people's minds. We cannot lose the ability to imagine a better way to do things. I want to leave you with a quote from Albert Einstein. He said, "The true sign of intelligence is not knowledge, but imagination." So we'll leave you with that food for thought this morning. Thank you.
In my dreams, I fly. Does anybody else fly? Have you flown in your dreams? Maybe not in a while. I chose this song today because it's about flight, it's about imagination, and it's about reality too, and how we can imagine and rise above. It's a Mary Chapin Carpenter song, Why Walk When You Can Fly?
a whole lot of trouble. In this world, there's a whole lot of pain. In this world, there's a whole lot of trouble, but a whole lot of ground to gain. Why take when you could be given? Why watch as the world goes by? It's a hard enough life to be living. Why walk when you can fly? And in this world there's a whole lot of sorrow. In this world there's a whole lot of shame. In this world there's a whole lot of sorrow, but a whole lot of ground to gain. Why spend your whole life wishing, waiting and wondering why? It's a long enough life to be living. Why walk when you can fly high? Fly high. And in this world there's a whole lot of golden. In this world there's a whole lot of plain. In this world you've a soul for a compass and a heart for a pair of wings. There's a star on the far horizon, rising bright in an azure sky. For the rest of the time that you're given, why walk when you can fly high? Fly high. There's a star on the far horizon, rising bright in an azure sky. For the rest of the time that you're given, why walk when you can fly high? High.
Beautiful, beautiful music, Claire, and wonderful message today, Rhonda. Imagination is a very powerful gift from God, and putting voice to imagination really gives it a lot more power. So thank you for that message. This is the part in our service where we bless our offerings. So take your offering and hold it in your hand or in your heart. And for those of you who are here, you can drop an offering in a basket at the end of the aisle here, or where you come into the sanctuary. And for those of you at home, you can always use the website, find our address, or make a donation on the website. So let's hold that offering and say our blessing. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am grateful. Claire. At this time, I want to thank the participants of this service. Claire Van der Grommert, let's give her a hand for the wonderful music she's given us today. And let's give Rhonda a hand for the wonderful message today. And we don't want to forget our marvelous producer, Chris Italiano. And now is the time for some announcements. The Monday evening chat with Wendy Erickson is on the third Monday only for the summer, and this month's meeting is on the 20th at 7 p.m. And there's a website address there. The men's group meets the second Thursday in person and the fourth Thursday on Zoom at 7 p.m. This month's meeting, which is this week, June 9th, in person, has been canceled. The Wheel of the Year Shamanic Series with Carl Schlotterbeck is on Zoom. Join them at Tuesday, June 14th at 7 p.m. And the monthly gathering with Stacy Krept is on Friday, June 10th at 7 p.m. Contact Stacy for more information. There should be a place on the website to do that. And today is the yard cleanup day. I'm so excited. We're going to get all those weeds pulled out there. Hey, let's give us a round. Imagine everything clean. We'll get all those weeds, yes. Use the imagination and we'll go do it after this service. And we have our yard expert here, Jennifer Flynn, if there's any questions, and she'll probably be giving us a rally speech right after the service. A new class, Learning to Love Yourself with Reverend Kathy, it's 3 weeks long, and it starts on June 29th. And the times are mentioned there. Loving yourself is a breakthrough that can make every area of life better. So join this class, use your imagination, and become a more loving you. It's a key movement from which mental, emotional, and even physical health flows. That link is also on the website. And our prayer chaplain today is Wendy Erickson. Her phone number's there. Wendy, wave your hand so people know who you are. You might want to look at the camera or come up here afterwards. Okay. Very good. But Wendy said she's more than willing to share any people's moment to pray together. So with that, Claire will probably close us with a song.
We've never done this one together. As a matter of fact, I've never done this one before. So, hey, we're all just learning. If you can't follow the melody, which is pretty much a repetition, if you can just come in at the part where it says, with my own two hands, that doesn't change too much. So let's just try this out.
I can change the world with my own two hands, make a better place with my own two hands, make a kinder place with my own two hands, with my own two hands. With my own two hands, I'm gonna make it a brighter place. I'm gonna make it a safer place. I'm gonna help the human race with my own two hands. With my own two hands, I can make peace on earth with my own two hands. place. I'm gonna make it a safer place. I'm gonna help the human race with my home to heaven. I'm gonna make it a brighter place. I'm gonna make it a safer place. I'm gonna help the human race with my home to heaven. With my home to heaven. With my home to heaven.
Thank you. Chris, could we pull up the slide with the prayer for protection? We're a little out of order, but we'll get it all in there. While he's bringing that up, I want to say thank you to Claire. I told her that I was going to talk about imagination this morning. I said, I want all new songs. And I could hear this sort of, okay. But she has delivered in spades, so thank you so very much. And Chris has put up with me throwing him curveballs at the last minute, inviting people to speak when they don't normally have an opportunity during the service, and we're doing things out of order, so thank you very much for your support. And Noel, we've pulled it off, we've done it. All right, so we will close with the prayer for protection. Please join me. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. If you are able, I invite you to stay for social time. And I'm going to ask Noel to take care of that microphone and make sure that we can all hear. Typically, we ask that the people in Zoom land be allowed to speak first so that we can all hear them.